Glistening in a downpour of sunshine, awash in color and splendor, sits Atlanta Stadium, Atlanta, Georgia. A stunning complex functioning not as a lone generator of excitement, but as an integral force within a vibrant and urbane culture. And if that isn't enough, the Falcons also play football there. In 1970, the Falcons attracted more Southlanders than ever before. And although the team couldn't match the attendance record with one of season victories, there was enough color and excitement to make anyone anxious to journey again aboard the odyssey of Falcons 70. Although not the most awesome machine in pro football, the Falcon offense is young and capable. Harmon Wages, number 5, is a back with a solid future, likening himself in style and disposition to all-time great Paul Hornung. Harmon is close to fulfilling that hopeful occurrence. Sonny Campbell, number 45, is a youngster who obviously musters all within him for the success of the team. And Paul Gibson, number 40, doesn't even know how good he can be. But the hub of any pro attack is still the quarterback, and ours is Bob Berry, number 17. Not possessing a galaxy of natural gifts, Berry combined with Van Brocklin to exploit those available. An experienced ball handler and faker, he is a dedicated ball player. While his passes have rarely been accused of being aesthetically inspiring, his rapport with Paul Flatley, number 85, and Gail Cogdill, number 15, in delivering the ball is something to be appreciated. Rapport that made Berry the number 4 quarterback in the NFC. Rapport not lost on rookie Todd Snyder, number 80. But into the life of any quarterback, a few linemen must fall. And when you're 5'11", it hurts. But one has to respect Bob Berry because he never complained, and even more important, he never quit. And neither did the men whose job it is to protect him. Guys like George Kuntz, number 75, are the pistons of the offense. Protecting the passer and turning it up for the runners. Turning it up for the Cannonball Express. Jim Cannonball Butler, number 33, is a genuine personification of the Van Brocklin style. Because to tackle him, you had to nail him down, and that took some doing. Berry, Kuntz, Butler, and the rest of the offense were more than tough to nail down in the series with San Francisco. Mitchell, the man for whom no place is too foreboding to catch a pass. No defender too wily to fake out. And no 6 arms long enough to reach him. Due to a lack of overall team speed among the receivers, he was given all kinds of special coverage. And while he was fast enough to run around people, the Falcons' spiritual leader just had to have more fun running over them. Jim Mitchell, the Falcons' 1970 most valuable player. A man who will let nothing get in his way. Van Brocklin could still see as big a talent as defensive tackle John Small, number 66, become an injury victim, and have Greg Lynn's number 72 prove a valuable replacement. Could see Grady Allen and the other defenders keep on hammering. What he really liked to see was specialist in hammering, number 87, Claude Humphrey. And though he often played with injury, Claude was named to the Pro Bowl. But for Van Brocklin and everyone else concerned, an entertaining and valuable asset of 1970 was a unique contraption from Kansas, known to friend and foe alike as the Great Flying Zook Machine. In a short period of time, John Zook has developed into a quality gauge ball player who makes very few mistakes, but causes plenty of them. Add a few disgusted feelings and John Zook is, as they say, a blue chipper. The young club was never discouraged, and Van Brocklin could look out at many outstanding young players. Among those, linebacker Don Hanson, number 58. Besides being able to make runners vanish, Hanson had the additional ability to appear from nowhere, as did Tommy Novus, number 60. Tommy came off knee surgery in 1970 and often played in pain known only to him. Tommy again went to the Pro Bowl, and the Novus thrill show continued unabated through its 5th run. While his range on pass coverage was limited during the early part of the season, that aspect of his game set the tenor of the divisional series with the Rams.
In New Orleans, the Saints entertained the Atlanta Falcons, and most of the legwork was displayed in the pregame festivities, as passing was the essence of first-half action. Both teams put the ball in the air often, but met with little success. Pro football players are big, durable, and tough, but sometimes it takes more than an opponent to stop them. When their passing attack sputtered, the Saints had to settle for a 42-yard field goal by Tom Dempsey, the only score of the first half. Professional polish was often absent during the first half, as shoddy ball handling but hard hitting characterized both teams. Shortly before the end of the third quarter, rookie Doug Wyatt, number 23, intercepted a pass, providing the Saints with a scoring opportunity. Their passing game finally came to life as New Orleans drove all the way to the Atlanta 1-yard line. On 4th down and 1, the Falcons' defense stiffened and Atlanta gained possession. With their backs to the end zone, the Falcons called on number 45, Sonny Campbell, a rookie from northern Arizona. Signed as a free agent, Campbell carried the ball 7 times on a drive covering 98 yards. His touchdown sprint gave Atlanta a 7-3 lead. In the fourth quarter, Atlanta received an unexpected break when number 60, Tommy Novus, picked off a pass. Once again, it was Sonny Campbell who got the call. 4 Campbell runs and a 17-yard scoring shot to Harmon Wages, number 5, gave Atlanta a touchdown and a 14-3 victory over their Southern.
The first game was in New Orleans, and no amount of fancy footwork could save the Saints from what the Falcons had in store for them. Although hit hard throughout the game, New Orleans managed a fourth quarter drive to the Falcon 1-yard line. Faced with 4th and goal and leading 3-0, the Saints were gambling for the big score. But they were holding aces and eights, the dead man's hand, as Rudy Redmond streaked in to cut down Tony Baker at the 2, and Atlanta took over. From there, Sonny Campbell slashed time and time again down the length of the field. He scored the first of 2 Falcon touchdowns in the 14-3 victory. The confidence against the Packers, a freshly minted defense, proved no forgery. Number 88, Glenn Condren, put the squeeze on Bart Starr, and John Zook, number 71, scooped up the dividend. Other pressings forced Starr from the game. His replacement, Don Horn, didn't have his pocket picked, but still had his goods stolen by safety Al Levan, number 49. Converting the assets into negotiables, the Falcon offense cashed in. With Sonny Campbell, number 45, achieving the impossible, the Falcons wrote a 20-17 credit in the fourth quarter, with help from rookie underwriter Todd Snyder, number 80. On the verge of bankruptcy, the Packers reached deep into their vault of pass patterns for an old favorite, the out-and-out miracle. Billy Graham has never lofted such a prayer, but a moment's confusion in the Falcons secondary answered it and saved the Packers' homestead.
3. But Atlanta comes back. This is the rookie, Sonny Campbell. He scores for Atlanta, and with the extra point, it became 20-10. Now we're midway through the fourth period, and Atlanta is storming back. It's 20-17 at this point. Bob Berry hits Todd Snyder. Atlanta moves ahead 24-20. Score is still 24-20. It's late in the final period. And you're looking at John Horn, the quarterback, back at his own goal line, throwing deep upfield. Carroll Dale grabs it. The lone defender stumbles. Carroll will race unimpeded for the touchdown, and Green Bay wins it. A 76-yard pass play, 27-24 over Atlanta.
Meanwhile in Green Bay, Norm Van Brocklin and the Falcons had come to see if the Packers were the peace-loving team that their 40-0 loss to Detroit indicated they were. The signs of love were everywhere in the stands, and even the once staunchly hard-hat Green Bay fans made signs for the peaceful style of football. However, on the field, the Packers, led by number 53, Fred Carr, had different ideas. It was easy to see why Packer fans loved Bart Starr as he hit number 84, Carroll Dale, for the game's first score. Then it was Starr to Dale again on a great fingertip reception. The catch set up the first of number 44, Donnie Anderson's 2 touchdowns. And the Pack led 20-3. The Falcons finally got going on the strong arm of number 17, quarterback Bob Berry. Then rookie Sonny Campbell, number 45, started sprinting and ended up limping in for one Falcons score. Berry to number 5, Harmon Wages, brought Atlanta closer. And it looked as though the Packers were once again displaying their peaceful attitude toward the opposition. Rookie Todd Snyder, number 80, made a diving catch all alone in the end zone, and Atlanta led 24-20. But Starr's backup, number 13, Don Horn, entered the game and showed some of that old-time Green Bay aggressiveness. He unloaded an 89-yard strike to Carroll Dale, and with the 27-24 win, the Pack came back, at least a little bit. The 49ers may have thought that Stone Mountain referred to some banjo pickers, but Cannonball Butler was no pile of pebbles for Atlanta, as he stretched out for 127 yards in rushing. Berry came down with an avalanche of passes, scattering them all over the field to as many receivers. The protection was nearly flawless. He threw 3 touchdown passes to Cogdill, Mitchell, and Butler. As they had against the Rams, the defense was forcing exploitable turnovers. Tom McCauley's fumble recovery precipitated a touchdown. Defensive end Claude Humphrey racked up an infrequent sack of John Brody and got a big kick out of that. Brody and the 49ers crept to within 1 point and had one last shot at the biggest kick of all, winning. But he who kicks last doesn't necessarily kick best. The 21-20 victory marked the Falcons' third consecutive win in the fierce divisional rivalry and proved a suitable predecessor to the bizarre rematch in San Francisco.
Atlanta, Georgia is a most contemporary city, mod, sophisticated, and progressive. Her citizens approach their nightlife and their football with equal fervor. Today, 58,000 came to beautiful Atlanta Stadium to watch the Falcons' 1970 home opener against the San Francisco 49ers. The 49ers, like their namesakes, were on a mission. They were out to win their first 3 games for the first time since 1952. But they would have their hands full, for the Falcons, too, were off to an encouraging start. Randy Johnson, last year's starting Falcon quarterback, was replaced by Coach Norm Van Brocklin with Bob Berry. And Berry broke club records last week with 28 completions for 302 yards in a narrow loss to the Packers. Van Brocklin has molded Atlanta into a contender, but will today have to beat a 49er team that finally looks like the real McCoy. It was a beautiful day for football. The sun was out, and so were the dollies from Dixie. What remained to be seen was whether the Falcons football team, like its namesake, could soar to new heights. The first quarter saw both teams unable to score at all. The Falcons, however, were able to consistently move the ball, and this was due to the running of number 33, Jim Cannonball Butler. At 5'10", 200 pounds, Butler's low center of gravity enables him to keep his balance longer than taller backs, and the 6-year veteran from Edward Waters College ripped off some long gainers against a 49er defense that ranked 8th against the rush. Quarterback Bob Berry also had some success passing in the first quarter. With great protection, here he was able to hit number 15, Gail Cogdell, on a sideline pattern. Even with a strong ground game mixed with a few passes, Berry and the Falcons failed to make the key plays. Once, Berry was almost intercepted on an underthrown bomb. Another time, Berry was on target, but his receiver, Jim Mitchell, caught a quick case of board hands. And on another series, the Cannonball himself became cannon fodder for the 49ers when he fumbled away another Falcon opportunity. Harris in the first quarter. Early in the quarter, he got a break when number 66, John Small, intercepted, then fumbled away an attempted Brody pass. But the Falcons soon were rolling again. Berry hit Gail Cogdell, the 11-year veteran from Washington State, and Cannonball Butler twisted his way into 49er territory. The 49er offense could do no better. Don Hanson refused to fall for a Brody fake on a perfect blitz by a linebacker. When Brody needed 6 on third down, 6'5" John Small squelched the play 1 yard short. The Falcons' defense again had held San Francisco to 1 first down for the quarter. Later in the half, Atlanta again looked good for a while. Big Jim Mitchell, number 86, got the ball rolling. But on third down, Cannonball Butler's second fumble of the game cost the Falcons a possible first down. Though Atlanta recovered, they had to punt. Then, with 1:40 to go in the half, Bob Berry led the Falcons on a textbook 2-minute drill, using number 85, the veteran Paul Flatley, as his prime target. The Dutchman himself couldn't have done better. The drive consisted of 10 plays, and 9 of them were passes. With his offensive line giving him plenty of time, Berry was able to find the gaps in the 49ers' prevent zone defense, and his receivers were able to be there when the ball arrived. Tight end Jim Mitchell took a Berry pass off a 49er defender to the 2. One official thought the ball had first hit Mitchell's own man, but was overruled. Then from the 2, Berry sent Butler flaring out of the backfield, and he went in untouched. On a replay of the score, Berry got a block from his other back, Paul Gibson, and easily hit the cannonball all alone to tie the game at 7. While the 49ers looked like they were panning for goal instead of the goal line. Yet they were still very much in the game as the half ended. The Falcons, too, were often winging when Paul Flatley took a 30-yard pass over his shoulder at the left sideline. Atlanta then began running right at San Francisco's frontline defense. Cannonball Butler was the weapon, and he was an effective one. In the first half alone, the little setback gained 73 yards on the ground. A repeat of Cannonball's last run shows a key block by number 5, Harmon Wages, on the outside linebacker. It appeared the Falcons would duplicate San Francisco's scoring drive, but Cannonball Butler fumbled when hit by Charlie Kruger, and Tommy Hart fell on the ball to end the threat. With the quarter drawing to a close and losing by 10 points, Atlanta had to make its move if it was going to get back in this ball game, the home opener for the Falcons. Bob Berry passed for a quick first down by going to Old Pro Paul Flatley. Flatley, who was being covered by rookie Bruce Taylor, was the leading receiver in the game with 6 catches. Then Cannonball Butler tore through the right side for 29 yards and another Falcon first down. A repeat vividly shows Butler's style, the quick start and good balance that compensates for average speed and lack of size. Just as the Falcons were flying, misfortunes again came in clusters. Ball right back as John Zook fell on his fumble at the 47. Bob Berry wasted no time in taking advantage. He threw over the middle to Big Jim Mitchell, who rumbled to the 24. Mitchell, who had scored 2 touchdowns against San Francisco in the season's opener last year, was pulled down by his face mask, so Atlanta got an additional 12 yards on the play. Another look shows that Berry's excellent fake on the play action to Butler held the defense long enough and gave the quarterback plenty of time to get off his toss. The rest was all Mitchell. Atlanta seemed to have a difficult time holding on to the ball all day. And on a pass intended for Flatley, they almost had another turnover. But with 3rd and 7, Berry hit Mitchell for the score, and the Falcons now trail by only 3, 17-14. Atlanta couldn't seem to stop the 49er offense, and for the first time in the half, their defense asserted itself. A ferocious rush by Claude Humphrey, number 87, and Glenn Condren, number 88, resulted in Brody's 2nd sack of the day. In his previous 2 games, Brody was downed only once. But the Falcon aggressiveness betrayed them when Steve Spurrier punted. The roughing the kicker penalty is harsh but wise, for a kicker is extremely vulnerable with one leg in the air. Spurrier, number 11, was vulnerable, and Atlanta had paid for it. Instead of gaining possession, they lost it and gave up 5 yards to boot. Then came the biggest break in a game that abounded in turnovers. Doug Cunningham swung wide left, found some running room, but fumbled when hit. The ball bounced perfectly to number 20, safety Tom McCauley, and he raced 42 yards with the gift. John Brody himself made the tackle at the San Francisco 13. This unusual play deserves another look. Cunningham, with a full head of steam, was hit simultaneously low and high. This caused the fumble, and McCauley had clear sailing down the right sideline until pinched in by Brody. Rookie running back Sonny Campbell got the call twice to move the ball to the 7. Then Berry on third down had the ball batted at the line and almost intercepted. Fourth down. Atlanta decided to go for the touchdown. Berry threw his third scoring pass of the game to Gail Cogdell, who made a great catch for the score that put Atlanta in the lead for the first time today. Brody led a slow but steady march upfield. He mixed his plays beautifully. Cunningham in the middle, Willard through the right, the short hitch pass to Washington. Always the thrusts were short, deliberate, and cool. When a pass to number 85, rookie Preston Riley, was overthrown in the flat, Brody came right back with the same play and made it work. What always worked, though, was Ken Willard. The fourth-ranked runner in the conference ran for 90 yards today. San Francisco was moving closer. Brody swung a pass to Cunningham, who managed to get out of bounds. Closer still. With only 6 seconds left in the game, Bruce Gossett trotted out to do his specialty for the third time today. There are those who maintain that the short field goal has become almost automatic. But Bruce Gossett's chip shot from the 19 was no good. And what appeared to be a certain third straight 49er victory had become a disheartening defeat. San Francisco's search for consistency must continue. For the Atlanta team and their fans and jubilant coach Norm Van Brockman, it was the perfect way to end a home opener. Van Brockman's youngsters are now 2-1 and are proving that their strong finish in 1969 was no fluke. The Falcons are a strong organization with excellent coaching and a young defense that can only get better. But the greatest improvement has been where it was needed most. At quarterback, Bob Berry is making his 6th season his finest. He ranks as the 5th leading passer in the league, and last week set club records in 3 categories. If Berry can remain healthy, this young ball club under the Dutchman's guidance could very well challenge the Rams for the top spot in the Western Division.
Atlanta, seemingly incensed by Denver's audacity, drove right down the field and tied the game on a pass from Berry to number 84, Mike Donahoe. Meanwhile, the Falcons prepared to face the Saints in a game that is always a battle. The Falcons have fallen on hard times after being in the division race earlier in the season, but the Saints have been rising to a peak after last week's tie with division-leading San Francisco. And as the teams made ready, coaches Van Brockman and Fears got together to chew the fat. Atlanta owned the first half as Bob Berry hit Paul Flatley to start a drive. And Harmon Wages, number 5, dove 1 yard to finish it as the Falcons took a 9-0 lead. Then Ed Hargett found Dan Abramowitz behind number 36, Ken Reeves, as the Saints fought back. Bill Kilmer and Ken Burrow brought them closer. These two teamed up again for a 55-yard touchdown, but a penalty nullified both the play and the Saints' comeback hopes. The big play of this game occurred in the third quarter as number 20, Tom McCauley, rambled 77 yards for a touchdown that put the game out of reach. Added to that was a Berry pass to Todd Snyder as the Falcons prevailed 32-14. And at least one coach's tired jaws wore a smile. The offense carried into the second game at Atlanta. With time and a clear view ahead of him, quarterback Bob Berry was devastating, blending accuracy, finesse, and the deadly use of body English. With the extra effort of Paul Flatley and Harmon Wages, the offense scored 25 points. The specialty teams added 7 more on a 77-yard punt return by Tom McCauley as the Falcons swept the rematch 32-14. The Falcons swept the New Orleans series and raised havoc throughout the year on grit and determination. And those spirits were personified by the Falcons' resident guru, tight end Jim.
Tough Falcon rush line that pressured both him and his receivers. With Chicago unable to move, Atlanta's Bob Berry passed the Falcons to a 14-13 lead.
The Falcons' intra-divisional competitiveness made a splash appearance in Los Angeles. Tommy's interception was but a bulletin in continuing dispatches of bad news for Ram quarterback Roman Gabriel. Special delivered by Zook, Condren, Linz, and Humphrey. The Falcons couldn't publish an overabundance of offense, but Jim Mitchell made page one with his efforts as the Falcons kept a 10-3 lead until late in the game. Although Atlanta had been a strong fourth quarter team, with 2 seconds left, the Rams ran off a late addition to tie the score. Norm Van Brocklin's Atlanta Falcons came to Philadelphia boasting a tough-minded general and quarterback Bob Berry, a budding All-Pro and tight end Jim Mitchell, number 86, and a young, swarming defense led by middle linebacker Tommy Nobis, number 60, and defensive end Claude Humphrey, number 87, a relentless hunter of passers. The Eagles' defense, inspired by their Age of Aquarius middle linebacker Tim Rosevich, is also young, tough, and aggressive. On Sunday, each snap of the ball marked the beginning of one more bruise on Bob Berry's body. Whether he rolled out or remained in the pocket, Berry was battered and beaten. On this one gray, dismal day at Franklin Field, Bob Berry absorbed a season's worth of punishment. While the Eagles' rush line proved invulnerable, Berry found the Philadelphia secondary more to his liking and at times plucked it clean. The Falcons gained an early lead when safety Steve Priest deflected a Berry pass right into Jim Mitchell's waiting hands. Atlanta built a 13-6 advantage, which lasted to the middle of the last quarter when their offense became too greedy. Eagles defensive tackle Gary Pettigrew blindsided Harmon Wage's halfback pass. Steve Priest recovered the fumble and sprinted 21 yards to tie the game at 13. Quarterback Norm Snead carefully consumed 3 minutes and 35 seconds in a furious last-second drive for the tiebreaker. With it fourth down, only 10 seconds remaining, and the ball squarely in the middle of the field at the Falcon 20-yard line, rookie place kicker Mark Mosley missed, and the game ended deadlocked at 13. Against the Eagles, the Falcons maintained another fourth-quarter lead, 13-6, on an earlier Berry pass to Jim Mitchell. To no avail. Harmon Wage's number 5 was cracked by Gary Pettigrew, number 88, and the Eagles loped into a tie. But Coach George Allen's successful philosophy has been to outsmart his opponents essentially with older, more veteran ball players. But he's curious about the Falcons, maybe about their spirit, or their youth, or acquiring their oldest player. Norm Van Brocklin, on the other hand, has lent his knowledge and understanding of the game to a much younger group, a different approach with a hit-and-win philosophy. As Van Brocklin can become a former superstar to be a super coach, and at least George Allen is watching very closely. What Allen watched when his Rams visited Atlanta was more of the iconoclast treatment of his quarterback. Gabriel may be one of the toughest of quarterbacks, but when blindsided by Claude Humphrey, King Kong would have fumbled, and Glenn Condren recovered. Gabriel was in trouble everywhere he looked as linebacker Grady Allen, number 54, made a one-handed interception. The defense was duplicating its performance in Los Angeles. So, unfortunately, was the offense, as it could produce only one touchdown, but a spectacular one on a pass from Berry to Paul Gibson, number 40. While they had opportunities to score on other occasions, they could not, and the Ram defense ultimately decided the game. It scored both the Rams' touchdowns. And being pressed twice by the spirited Falcons, the Rams had to admit the series was more difficult than ever. And while George Allen strode from the field a winner, 17-7, he and the rest of pro football hear footsteps.
In Atlanta, the Falcons wanted their first win in 9 tries against Los Angeles. The Rams led the conference in defense against the run, but the Falcons appropriately were more at home in the air. Quarterback Bob Berry faked the run and took his pick of 2 deep receivers, both wide open behind the Ram defense. Paul Gibson's 51-yard touchdown was the only score for Atlanta. Roman Gabriel and the Ram offense fared even worse against Atlanta's tough young defense.
moving steadily in the right direction proved difficult for the Falcons out in the Bay Area. Claude Humphrey was again able to climb over Cass Banaszak to reach Brody. The secondary, in the person of John Mallory, scooped up another fumble, this one for 6. Berry's passes twice found Mitchell for touchdown. Without question, the Falcons seemed destined to continue their mastery over San Francisco, even in the muck of Kezar Stadium. But the 49ers were scrambling frantically for the playoffs. They converted 2 close pass interference calls and a bomb to eke out a win in a most crucial game for them and end the Falcons' streak at 3. At home against the old guard but new-look Steelers, the Falcon defenders were able to generate a phalanx of pressure that kept the Steelers ducking constantly. The great flying Zook machine was buzzing everywhere. It intercepted one pass for a near touchdown. Not to be outdone, Claude Humphrey fielded a Zook machine rebound for another. Cornerback Ken Reeves, number 36, who has played in every Falcon game to date, maintained his specialty, taking guys off at the waist. So motivated, Harmon Wages in the offense took it to the Steelers in several casts. Off-tackle slants to the sideline, and great looping circle pattern. Touchdowns came easy. A pass to Paul Flatley. And not so easy. An end around to Jim Mitchell. It was close, but there you are. Falcons 27, Steelers 16.
In Atlanta, the Steelers needed a win to stay 1 game behind the Bengals and keep their fading title chances alive as they faced the Falcons, a team with nothing to lose but pride. Pittsburgh started rather slowly as Terry Hanratty's pass on the first play from scrimmage was intercepted by Ken Reeves. The play set up Randy Johnson's pass to Art Malone and a quick 7-0 lead. It was the first score in a game in which the lead would change hands 4 times. The Falcon touchdown was offset by John Fuqua's 10-yard rumble, but a missed extra point left the Steelers trailing by 1. They got that one and 2 more when Andy Russell's interception set up a field goal. Following a field goal that put the Falcons back on top, the Steelers regained the lead when Mel Blunt raced 70 yards with a kickoff. The run set up Fuqua's second touchdown, a 6-incher. From that point on, the Falcon defense shut off the Steeler runners and forced Pittsburgh to throw. John Zook caught one of Terry Bradshaw's throws and plotted to the 12-yard line. The third of 5 Falcon interceptions set up Jim Mitchell's end-around touchdown. Mitchell's run gave the Falcons a go-ahead touchdown as he just reached the end zone, although some people didn't quite see it that way. The last Atlanta score was the result of the efforts of their offense. Harmon Wages skittered 40 yards to start the drive, and Johnson and Paul Flatley finished it on an 18-yard hookup. The 27-16 victory was a peak in the Falcons' up-and-down season, but it marked the end of the line for the Steelers' 1970 title hopes.
Atlanta's only score came on this 74-yard slippery shot by John Mallory through the Vikings' usually stingy suicide squad. The 1970 Falcons. Were they disappointed with the season? Naturally they were. But they're as tough as anybody and can play defense with the best. The Falcons' primary concern for 1971 is to stay healthy. 4-8-2 does not measure the capabilities of this team. But then you can see that for yourself.